What's going on, guys? This is Vince with vshred.com, and in today's video I'm going to give you a very simple tip to help you build bigger rear delts. All right, like I said, today's video is going to be a very simple fix for anybody who's trying to build your rear delts bigger. Because obviously the rear delts are a huge piece to building an aesthetic figure with your body. Shoulders are just important in general. If you're trying to get that wider shouldered, smaller waist appearance, just having wider shoulders is an easy way to make your waist seem smaller without it actually being smaller. So that's why shoulders are such a sought after muscle group. And when it comes to shoulders, you have to understand that there's not just one area of your delt that you're trying to target. Your deltoid is this big muscle with different bundles of muscle fibers. Your front and the interior, the side, the lateral or the medial head, and then the posterior or the rear delt back there. And so that's the one we're going to be focusing on, because I think that's the one that people neglect the most, or they're just simply doing their exercises slightly incorrect, or there's a better way to go about doing them, and the fix that I'm going to show you is going to completely fix that. Now, I'm not even going to say that you're doing the wrong exercises. I'm not going to show you different exercises to do. You can still do the same what I'm going to show you guys it with dumbbell reverse flies, just like that, because that's probably the most common exercise that I see done for rear delts. And then also I'm going to show you it with the reverse fly pec deck, because those are two very common exercises for rear delts and extremely effective. But I'm going to show you how to kind of focus on something different to make it work better. Now, before I get into that, if you're trying to get in shape and you want help with getting in shape, first thing you got to do is figure out your body type. Figure out if you're a hard gainer who has to follow a specific type of training and diet for putting on muscle, or if you're skinny fat, or if you're overweight and want to lose weight. You have to figure out what training and diet is, or what training and nutrition is right for you to get in shape. If you don't know what that is, hit the link right below this video. Take my free body type quiz, watch the video at the end, and that's all you got to do. But let's get into this. So I'm going to start out with dumbbell reverse flies. Like I said, they're a super common exercise, and for good reason, because they work really well. But here's what you see done all the time. See people, I got some 25s here, and I'm just gonna let you know right now, this is too heavy for most people, because when you get 25s and you start doing some bent over or some rear delt flies, you're gonna start looking like this. You could probably get a couple clean ones, but then you're gonna start looking like this. Just there. Now, what's happening here? Well, yes, you're taking your arms from right here and getting them out to the side, but you have to remember that you're trying to target that rear delt only as much as possible. Now, there are going to be other muscles that are targeted at the same time, stimulated at the same time, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't take extra steps to really make this give this as much stimulation as possible. And when you're going from here to here and it's heavy, what you're doing without even understanding or without even knowing it is you're going here, and then you're bringing this out, and because it's so heavy, you are using your traps and your rhomboids, the muscle running down the middle of your back. You're really contracting that, and your shoulders are rolling up, and because of that, you're taking a little bit of the focus away from that rear delt and putting it on your traps or your rhomboids. So instead of just kind of taking this weight and trying to get it from down here to up here, this is not proper form. Now, if you're just trying to go heavy and you're just trying to work all over shoulders, that's fine. Obviously, you don't want to bounce it or anything like that, but it's fine to work two different muscle groups at the same time. If you're trying to isolate that rear delt as much as possible, first off, drop weight. I'm gonna pick up some 10s right here, and then what you want to focus on is how the muscle is actually going to be worked, because when it comes to your rear delt, you have to understand that it's running from the spine of the scapula, so back here, and then it's running down to almost the middle of your humerus, so the upper arm bone. So it's running from here up to here. So to work a muscle, you want to shorten and lengthen that muscle. So how do you do that? Well, that's gonna be through horizontal arm abduction, bringing your arm from in front to the side. That is what's going to work that rear delt muscle. So instead of just trying to focus on bringing this weight and bringing it up, you really want to focus on taking these dumbbells and pushing them out. If you focus on pushing these weights out rather than up, because I can lift these weights up and I'm going to get a lot of rhomboid trap activation here. As soon as I try to bring them outward, it's a lot harder because I'm not only working, but I'm more so isolating the rear delt of my shoulder. So just by doing that, I'm getting less activation of those the muscles that would be the secondary mover. But when you go too heavy and you only focus on lifting the weight up rather than actually pushing it out and focusing on getting that horizontal abduction, because once you start focusing on that horizontal abduction, that's when you really start doing what this shoulder requires to build that rear delt. So that's it with the dumbbells. Let's head over to the pec deck to show you that one. So with the pec deck machine, this is obviously also a great exercise for the rear delts. You put them all the way back, you actually turn around, you're not doing chest anymore, you're trying to work your shoulders, and it's gonna look just like this, okay? This is the reverse fly on the pec deck machine. Now, the same issue happens with this. People get onto this and they go super heavy and they go in to do a rep and they start looking like this. What's happening here? Well, I'm working a lot of my rear delt, yeah, but I'm also working a lot of that middle back muscle, the rhomboids, the traps. And so instead of going super heavy on this, now if you're trying to just work shoulders as a whole, that's fine to go heavy and work multiple different muscle groups. We're talking about trying to get as much rear delt activation as possible. So if you're really trying to build just that part of your shoulder, you have to focus on isolating just that part of your shoulder as much as possible. So you'll drop this weight and you're gonna focus on the exact same thing. Rather than trying to get this weight and bringing it back, because back could mean like this. That could be back. What you're trying to focus on is taking this weight and going out. When you focus on that horizontal abduction and taking that weight out and minimizing the amount of activation in those back shoulder muscles, because going from here, and then I could go even farther and kind of shrug my shoulders, but that's not any more rear delt activation. Max rear delt activation is gonna come from right there. Really just focusing on taking my arm and driving it straight out to the side. Almost trying to keep it as far away from my body the entire time. Almost like you're trying to reach your arm around some pole that is sitting out here, trying to get it all the way out there, pushing it horizontally away from your body. That's what's really going to bring the humerus, the origination, to the insertion point. You want to shorten that muscle as much as possible, then bring it back and lengthen it, just like that. So rather than just trying to throw this weight back, really focus on pushing it outward, away from the midline of your body, and that's what's going to get you that rear delt activation. So if you're trying to build bigger rear delts, stop just going through the motions and doing whatever exercises with whatever form. I'm not saying that you're doing the wrong exercises. Most people aren't. Most people do the right exercises for building certain areas of their bodies, building certain muscle groups. But fixing your form and really honing in on what you should focus on while doing an exercise, rather than just bringing this weight back, you want to focus on throwing your elbows outward. Just by making that small mindset shift while doing an exercise will make a massive difference in that mind-muscle connection and help you build the right areas of your body. So hope that helps, guys. If it does, make sure you're subscribing to the channel. I got content like this coming all the time. Throw a thumbs up down there below this video for me. I'd appreciate it. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.